I'd like to welcome you aboard the National Geographic Venture into your Treasures of the Inside Passage trip. We have an amazing voyage planned out for you. We're going to be visiting areas of Southeast Alaska and British Columbia over the next 14 days, utilizing our landing craft, kayaks, stand-up paddleboards, going ashore to visit some of these pristine, temperate rainforests. We'll be seeing some amazing wildlife along the way, including humpback whales. Be on the lookout for bears, mountain goats, stellar sea lions, harbor seals, and everything in between. Along the way, we'll be visiting communities to see how the culture in these areas has grown as well. We'll be visiting the areas of Petersburg, Victoria. One of the highlights of our stop will be in Alert Bay, which is in British Columbia, where we'll be visiting the Umista Cultural Center and then visiting their big house for a dance presentation. We have an amazing group of naturalists who are going to be leading you along the way, answering your questions and sharing their love and knowledge of this area. Again, I'd like to welcome you aboard the National Geographic Venture into the Treasures of the Inside Passage. I hope that this voyage is as magical for you as it is for me.
We have a great place to explore today. We're in Tecumseh Bay, which is on the eastern shore of Baranof Island. The plan for today is poke around and look at stuff. It's your cruise, it's your trip, so we'll try to get, if something catches your eye, let me know. You ready? Every shoreline now that we're in the Inside Passage, we'll see these horizontal lines that parallel the water, and that's the tide line. And then this top band of the tidal zone, a lot of barnacles and mussels, some seaweeds. Every year the salmon come back to the rivers and they bring their nutrients from the sea. They're like packages of fertilizer coming back. They die after they spawn. So then the next generation of salmon is fed by those dead adults because they're allowing this nutrient flow to go into the streams. The larvae of insects that will be eaten by the little fry make use of it. The insects themselves, they'll be eaten by bigger fish, make use of it. So it sort of builds the base of the food chain, you know?
We're spending the morning today in Elfin Cove. What a charming place. It's a small settlement on Chichagof Island that has no roads, just boardwalks. A very small group of people overwinter here. I think last year it was 6 or 7 people. A lot of fishermen and some fishing lodges. One of the really unusual things we got to see this morning was a house being transported on a dock over the inner harbor. The weather here today is perfect and we're really enjoying it. This is just a gorgeous place to spend a sunny morning in Southeast Alaska.
Make your way down if you are in Team Banana Slug or Sea Otter. This is the final call.
Welcome to the Indian Islands, everybody. We're in a group of islands here, a small archipelago nestled in the middle of Icy Strait. Our objective today is to find lots of things that like to eat fish. One of the largest areas where water can flow into Southeast Alaska comes in from the open Pacific, which is just in that direction. It hits this group of islands and is forced upwards, causes a lot of mixing. Plankton cannot swim against a current, that's the definition of a plankton. So they're brought in with the current, and all the fish that like to eat those things chase them inwards, and then things that like to eat fish chase those fish. Full-size adult can actually be about 5 feet tall if it's standing up like we are, and they can weigh 100, 120 pounds. The otters have the most luxurious pelt ever, 1 million hairs per square inch, which is, that's about as many as is on our entire head when we're young. Question. There's a beautiful triangle of ecology, and this is one of the fine points of it. This is bull kelp, Nereocystis. It's a macroalgae that grows around here, and it's really important habitat for sea otters. The urchins will graze along, they'll eat the holdfast of the kelp, and it'll float up and get wrecked on the rocks and die. So by removing one of those pieces of the triangle, the whole ecosystem was destabilized. Another one of the charismatic megafauna we find in the Indian Islands is the Steller sea lion. These are the largest sea lion in the world. Also the best smelling. The big males are over a ton. Oh yeah. They're always more. If they catch a fish that's too big, what they'll do is they'll grab it and they'll take it to the surface and they'll flail it about really hard, left and right, and try to break it up into smaller pieces. Oh, hello, buddies. With a beautiful view of the Fairweather Range, we knew it was going to be a gorgeous day, and it certainly didn't disappoint.
Woke up today in Glacier Bay National Park, right in front of the amazing Johns Hopkins Glacier. The sun was just hitting the peaks of the mountains around the glacier. We came out on deck, we were able to see some amazing calving events. From there, we went down the Johns Hopkins Inlet and around to Margerie Glacier. This is a glacier that's almost a mile wide and over 200 feet tall, pure white. Just amazing to look at. Around Russell Island, we saw some brown bears foraging on the beach. They were fishing, they were walking up and down, looking for other things to eat. It was really, really fun to see. We came further down Glacier Bay and we went past Gloomy Knob. Gloomy Knob is an incredible mountain goat habitat, and we were able to see nannies and kids and billies scampering up and down the cliffside. We're going to be stopping by South Marble Island. South Marble Island is an incredible nesting site for all different kinds of seabirds. Hopefully we'll see some stellar sea lions hauled out onto the rocks. As we leave Glacier Bay, we're feeling so fortunate to have visited this living laboratory, this place of glacial succession, and a place where so many unique opportunities exist to visit wildlife.
We're in Williams Cove. It's a beautiful site, great place for walks, and it's part of the Tracy Arm Forest Terror Wilderness area. It's really our first chance to stretch our legs in undeveloped rainforest. In other words, no boardwalks, no man-made trails. We'll be on game trails exploring this gorgeous habitat. We're really excited for everybody to have a chance to experience this place, to soak it all in, to listen, to feel it underfoot and see all the visual beauty. The temperate rainforest here gets a lot of rain. It can get 80 to 150 inches of rain or more, so it's really lush and beautiful inside. If you're a tree and you want to get to the sunlight, you build a trunk, you grow high, you try to grow higher than your neighbors so you can reach the light up at the top. You can't count all the shades of green and so many mosses and ferns and skunk cabbage. It's just a feast for the senses. This isn't a plant at all. These things, these grayish green things, they're lichens. There's old man's beard, or Methuselah's beard is another name, and witch's hair. The seedling starts to grow on that fallen tree, and that puts its roots, when it starts getting higher, it puts its roots around the trunk to reach the ground for more stability. And you end up with some very odd shapes.
Just started in on this nature walk and it was fabulous. It's a lifetime experience to actually get an opportunity with a naturalist to see nature up close.
Captain Lee here. Welcome to Tracy Arm, and we're going to go look at a glacier. This is the South Sawyer Glacier we'll be going to see. This is a classic fjord. It's narrow, twisty, deep, really deep, U-shaped valley, and these rock walls soar 3,000, 4,000 feet directly up. Just hang on for a few minutes. We'll go look at some ice melt. Oh, pinnacle. Yeah. You get it? Go get it? Keep going. What's that? The white is because there's a lot of air bubbles. But all the colors except blue get absorbed into the ice, and the blue bounces around and comes back out. That's what we see. You can think of a glacier as a flowing river of ice. There are tributaries, there are ice falls. As the snow builds up, and if it doesn't melt over the winter, it builds up more and more and goes through a metamorphosis from snow into ice. Eventually gravity will grab it and it'll start to move downhill. So moving river of ice, and most glaciers move a few feet a day.
Today we're in Petersburg, Alaska. It's a beautiful fishing village. It hasn't also been kind of exposed yet to the tourism world. Today we got to experience some true Southeast Alaskan weather, but even the rain didn't stop our guests from getting out and enjoying the activities we had planned. Some of our guests got to experience a nice walk down the docks.
Here we are on the dock. We're surrounded by fishing boats of all colors and creeds and kinds. Romance, just behind you, that is a trolling boat. You can always tell a trolling boat from far away because those two side masts are much taller than the central mast. Just underneath your feet is a subtidal ecosystem, which usually you have to go diving to find. We do get an interesting view of some of these creatures. The cauliflower animals, those are anemones. They're related to jellies that have just gone sessile, upside down. So they're stuck on something with their tentacles up, trying to catch whatever they can. Like little fairy boats.
Some others also got to enjoy a nice little photo walk with me down the slough. My job as a photo instructor is to really inspire our guests to be able to go out in these places that they may have never been before, or maybe never even get a chance to go to again, and really see it through their own eyes and see what inspires them, what draws them in to kind of really capture in their photography. Water and reflections are like the most fun thing to play with in this area here. You can already see a lot of them starting to appear here. So with that, I went pretty shallow, 2.8. Yeah, I wanted just the kind of tips of the needles here with the raindrops, and you can find them that just have just the little perfect little beads on them. My hope is that each guest will walk away with a unique view of this place through their own photography.
We could spend months exploring misty fjords and the whole time be away from human-made noise, you know? I mean, it's just really special to have that in the world. Let's go do some exploring, shall we? This is called the owl face, by the way. There's see how there's two giant eyes with a beak in between? So we are in Misty Fjords National Monument. Do you know that? Yes. This place is huge. It's 3,500 square miles of national monument, part of the Tongass National Forest. This is the first time that we've really seen the cedar, the red cedar growing. And it's this more curtainy tree on our right, or the one over the water here, a little bit of a shaggy bark to it. I'm stuck.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. Got out.
Today we're in Green Inlet. It's the first chance for our guests to get out and explore British Columbia by trail. Today we're going to be doing a bushwhack hike, going through a lot of boot-sucking mud, ducking under down trees, slipping and sliding, looking for the best views we can find inside this forest. Bushwhacking is a chance for our guests to get a true sense of adventure, kind of forging our way through a forest. We forged our path through the woods looking for the best routes to get to a nice viewpoint. At the end of our hike, we got out to a nice little area where we get to look inside of a bay that was just so peaceful and untouched by anybody.
Great couple hours into the woods, true wilderness trailing, knee-deep mud, made it all worth the while.
Everybody made it through the hike at the end. Maybe our boots are a little bit more muddy than we started, but then again, that's what they're there for.
As the undersea specialist aboard the National Geographic Venture, it is my pleasure and responsibility to bring the underwater world to our guests digitally. Now there's a lot of biodiversity, beauty, color, violence under the water, and the Inside Passage is one of my favorite places to dive. It's incredibly rich, full of life, but it's inaccessible to us air-breathing mammals. That is why the undersea team takes it upon themselves to brave the frigid waters of the northern Pacific Ocean to bring back the precious images for review and study. Diving in cold water is incredibly rewarding. It's not the typical vacation diving with beautiful clear water and pristine coral reefs. It's generally very dark here, green, rich, but it's full of life. All of the plankton and tannins from the land washed in by all of the rain give these waters a very dark color. But it's this dark color that indicates the productivity and brings all of the colorful, beautiful, unusual animals to these waters. I love diving in these productive and protected areas because they're mostly undisturbed. With limited boat traffic and limited land development, the waters here are still relatively pristine. It's my hope that in bringing the beautiful underwater world up and making it accessible, that I can inspire acts of conservation and stewardship.
We're in Alert Bay on Cormorant Island. Alert Bay for a very long time has been a burial place for the Kwakwaka'wakw people. There's a population of perhaps 1,200, about half of them are First Nations people on this island. In 1921, some people were arrested for having their traditional celebration, a potlatch. And many of their artifacts were confiscated. These sacred masks that are passed down through generations, they were taken away from them and sent to museums in Ottawa and Toronto, and also they ended up in private collections. In 1951, that law banning potlatches was taken off the books. It was just deleted. Many of those artifacts have been repatriated. They've been given back to the people that they belong to. We got a close look at those artifacts, at those masks and headdresses. The highlight of our visit here is to be able to go into this big house and witness a performance. It's a very special opportunity to go into a big house and see the masks in use and observe the dances and really participate in a bit of their culture.
I have the great pleasure of touring intrepid historical explorers around my hometown, Victoria, which has a lot more to it than meets the eye. people know about the tea at the Empress and the flowers, but little do they know about the characters who made this city a vibrant, rich place, especially during the gold rush years, full of desperados and outlaws, as well as the lawmen who tried to hold them to account. Here, where the tour begins, we see some of the most stunning buildings in the city. The Parliament buildings behind me, the steamship terminal, the Empress Hotel, and these are all designed by the same man. His name was Francis Mawson Rattenbury, Victoria's most famous architect. But like the city, there's much, much more to him than meets the eye. And his tale is one of love and murder and intrigue. We walk along Government Street, and then we dip down through the alleyways and courtyards of Bastion Square, through Market Square, and its lower sunken courtyard, which used to be a river valley. And we stopped off at the Bard and Banker for a refreshment, because I know they don't feed you enough on these tours. We entered Chinatown, which is the oldest Chinese precinct in Canada. It's my great pleasure to help people understand a little bit more about the city, especially on a gorgeous day like this on Victoria's beautiful harbour side.
Today we're in Friday Harbor, a small fishing village in the San Juan Islands, part of the state of Washington. This is the last port stop we'll make before Seattle.
So this has really been so far beyond my expectations. We've always wanted to come to Alaska. I'm really kind of sad that we put it off so long because it's been wonderful.
We've got to preserve this for our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, so they can enjoy what we've been able to enjoy. The pristine nature of this whole area is wonderful.
I'd like to thank you for joining us on the National Geographic Venture and on your Treasures of the Inside Passage trip. It's been an amazing voyage for me. We've seen humpback whales, bears, mountain goats. Again, I'd like to thank you for joining us, and I hope to see you again on a future Lindblad Expeditions National Geographic voyage.